welcome. You've made it to our February Network Café. This is Cast Your Vote, the strategic plan work groups you want, which is part of our 2025-2026 Network Café Series. We're so glad to have you all here. I think you all know me, but if you don't, I'm Colleen Jennings. I'm the network coordinator for the New Hampshire Food Alliance. As I see you're all introducing yourselves in the chat, which is great. You can continue to do that, connect with folks that you know here, or maybe introduce yourself to someone you don't. That's what these things are about, connecting with one another. And before we get into our topic, I'm just going to run through some introductions about the Food Alliance and what we do. So we here at the New Hampshire Food Alliance, we are a network of people, businesses, organizations, and communities working together to build a food system that works for all in New Hampshire. So what does that mean in normal people language? It means that all of these little dots and all these logos on this slide, we work with all of these organizations as a network to move our food systems work forward together. We collaborate with each other, we learn together, and we make it an effort, particularly our staff here at the Food Alliance, make an effort to know what everyone's working on so we can connect with each other and not do duplicative work, and also learn from each other and move things forward in our food system. So we do all that, all those organizations in our network. We are part of the University of New Hampshire, the College of Life Sciences and Agriculture. And as a part of the university, we share its dedication to making a difference, deepening our understanding of the world, and learning to find sustainable responses to the planet's biggest challenges. One part of our work here at the Food Alliance and doing that learning and growing together is through our Network Café Series, which we host every month, first Friday of the month, September through April. And we use it as a place to bring our network together virtually to discuss critical topics and issues that our food system is facing right now. So it could be anything from covering a grant to talking about a decision that was made about SNAP, anything that kind of is coming up and challenging us in our food systems work. So I'm going to put our agenda in the chat again for those who are just getting in. In that agenda, besides what our topic is for the day, you'll also see our working agreement, so that will help folks who are new to know what you can expect from us during this time and what we expect from you during this time together. So just take a look at that if you are interested. So let's get to our topic for today. I don't have a lot to say because we have a lot to cover. Our director, Nicole Carville, is going to guide us through the strategic plan implementation. There's a lot of exciting updates that we have for you all, and you'll have the opportunity to make your voice heard, which is always fun. So Nicole, take it away.
Thanks, Colleen. Hi, everybody. Welcome, and thanks for being here today with us. So we are going to have a really interactive network cafe today. So I am glad that you are a small group. I'm glad, but I'm happy to take advantage of this small group and be able to hear from you all. And we're going to have some different ways for you to engage and share your opinions about where we're going. So first, we're going to talk one more time about the New Hampshire Food and Ag Strategic Plan implementation. So if you're not familiar with the New Hampshire Food and Agriculture Strategic Plan, then I'm going to refer you back to other network cafes and to our website to read about it, just so that I don't bore you all with it once again with the background. But today, this year, we're shifting into implementation of it. We all spent a lot of time and effort building this really phenomenal strategic plan for our state. And now we're trying to figure out, as a backbone team for the Food Alliance, what does it look like to change gears and move it forward, to do something with all that work and continue the momentum? So we're thinking of it in 3 buckets. And if you were at a network cafe 6 months ago where we presented different buckets, you can just forget about those buckets and know that we're pivoting, we're learning and moving and evolving here. So these are the current 3 buckets. We're looking at collaboration. What are we doing together? What do we need to do together? Coordination. What are each of you doing? And then what are others doing? And then how do those 2 things fit together? And then engaging the next generation of leaders. So for collaboration, we call those implementation work groups. We're hosting work groups to come together and move forward strategic plan recommendations or really important issues in the food system. We're going to spend most of the Network Cafe today talking about those and which ones are launching soon. Coordination, we're doing that through something that is newly being discussed today and announced to you all, partner work plans. And I'll explain a little bit more about what that means soon, but they're a concept we're introducing today that you'll be hearing a lot about. They're a way for us to ask you what each of you are doing that aligns with a strategic plan, and then hear back from many of you, and then collate, coordinate that information and share it back out in a way that's digestible. And thirdly, students in the strategic plan. We're still working on that one and exactly what it looks like, but how to engage the next generation of leaders at the University of New Hampshire, but at other universities across the state as well, and colleges, to engage them in this important food systems work, use their help, and help develop strong leaders. So we're going to take all that's happening, we're going to summarize it and share it back out with the network through an annual progress report. This is it'll be what you all are doing and what implementation work groups folks are participating in, what those work groups are accomplishing, brought together and mapped against the brief topics from the strategic plan. So all the local food access related topics would be together, climate resilience topics grouped together, supporting beginning and future farmers projects and work grouped together so that you can each look through and see what you need to know about what's happening in New Hampshire. So I just want to demystify it for just a minute here. So there's two main steps to be a participating partner. You sign up, it just takes a minute, and you basically need to know who's signing up, who's the point person. And then you receive this work plan. So Seacoast Seat Local, Sean Menard serves on our leadership team, the network leadership team, and let us use his as an example here. So it's a Google Doc that's pretty simple, but basically says, what work groups are you participating in? What are your top projects and priorities the year ahead? And then lastly, are there any recommendations from the strategic plan that you are contributing to? And you can fill out as much or as little as you want of this as it applies to your organization or your team. You can also, there's people from Extension on here today. And so Extension is an example where they're not going to sign up for one work plan for Extension. There's going to be a work plan per Extension team. So there's more information about this on the website that explains why to become a participating partner, how you sign up. It is free, and in addition to being free, we're going to try and incentivize you to do it. So we're giving away a 50% discounts on tickets to the statewide gathering. We just ordered some really cool New Hampshire Food Alliance Carhartt beanies. The first 75 partners to sign up gets one of those in 4 great colors. And in addition to that, you have the less tangible but really important aspects, visibility for your organization's work across the network with funders, with policymakers, with partners, and the ability to get things done together. Okay. So that is a partner work plan. So once you all jump at this opportunity and fill out the partner work plan, we are going to take all those and we're going to collate them and create a progress report for the year. So grouping together the parts that as they relate to each brief topic so that you can look through it, or funders or others can look through it and get to what they need. And it'll also be on our website in an interactive way. This is a little just recap of what I just tried to articulate with you all. So right now, this is the first time we're talking about this publicly. So starting today, you are welcome to sign up as a participating partner. You are encouraged to sign up, and the link, Colleen can share it maybe in the chat. That just takes a minute. And then you have time to fill out your work plan, update it as needed. At the end of the year, we're going to say, all right, how did that go? Change it, update it based on reality, and tell us what you plan for 2027 that aligns with the New Hampshire Food and Ag Strategic Plan. And then in December and January, we're going to get down to business, edit that, give feedback, and then collate and publish it into an annual progress report. And then share it with you all so that you can see what's happening. And then the following winter, repeat the same thing. All right, I'm going to pause, and then we're going to talk about work plans as promised. But I want to pause and see if anyone has questions.
None in the chat.
About that. Not in the chat.
You're welcome to come off mute. Just ask questions if you have them.
And just because while you're thinking of your questions, I just want to say, folks that are participating in a work group right now or will be participating in one of the work groups to come, that is contributing to the New Hampshire Food and Ag Strategic Plan. But I know that all of the work you're doing right now, much of the work each of you are doing, and those of you that I know in this meeting, there's so much that is directly aligned with the strategic plan. We're not asking anyone to do more. We're asking you to tell us what are you doing so that we can take it and share it back out in a way that is helpful to the broader network and hopefully helpful to you as well. All right, let's do the work groups. Let's talk about work groups. Oh, Paige, yes.
Hi. Yeah, question. And I don't know if I heard you correctly. Did you say that there was each participating partner has their own work plan, or that there would be multiple people working on the same work plan if it's under the same topic? Or
no, so thank you for slowing me
okay.
down. So you would so in your example, so Paige works for the Department of Environmental Services. Is there a team you work as part of? A division?
Bureau section. Yeah, it's the Materials Management, Education, and Planning. So
okay.
It's a
so
mouthful.
you might sign up as like representing your division or all of DES, whatever makes sense to you. And then you would get a work plan. So that would look like this, but with your team name, org name, whatever.
Okay.
And then you would fill it out. So you would say, I'm leading a wasted food work group, or I'm participating in one, and here are some projects I'm doing or my team is doing this year. Like, it's basically a way for you to give information to us.
Okay.
And then me, Colleen, and Caitlin are going to take that. We're going to ask questions and refine things if we're confused. And then we are going to sort and organize. And so you don't have to do anything from there.
Okay, cool. All right. Thank you for explaining that.
Yeah. So like if you looked at the recommendation sections, you might say, I don't remember if successful implementation of the commercial food waste ban is one of the recs, but if it was, you might say like leading a project on that,
Okay.
So it's tricky, and we're here to help you all if you get stuck on how you're contributing, but know that every single one of you that I know is contributing substantially. So it's just a matter of like, what is the thing and can you find yourself in it?
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Does that make sense? Everyone?
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay. Anybody else? All right, we'll sign up. Again, I will repeat, if you're excited about a New Hampshire Food Alliance Carhartt beanie, which I am, the first 75 partners to sign up the point person will receive one, and you can pick between 4 colors. We'll share some photos once we get them in the mail. All right, we ready to move on to work groups? I'm curious, Leandra's typing. I want to see her question. Oh, good. Okay. Thank you for validating the investment in that swag, Leandra. All right, let's talk about work groups. So work groups, the work group formula that we have been working on since last summer is as follows. There's a work group leader. There's 2 to 3 partners leading it. And then there's New Hampshire Food Alliance support. And then there's participating partners. You sign up to be part of it. And at least one of those leaders serves on our network leadership team to share and report back on what's happening and sort of keep that network leadership team engaged and informed. So here's an example of the first work group we launched is led in part by Jamie Potter, who's on today, with American Farmland Trust. It's also led by Noah Hodgetts, a state planner with the New Hampshire Department of Business and Economic Affairs, and Sarah Reitzman, New Hampshire Housing. And so it's an all-star team of leads that are focused on this really tricky intersection of housing in the state and protecting farmland. That those two things are often at odds and they don't have to be. And how do we work at that intersection together in New Hampshire? So they inform the agenda and develop the agendas. I'm there on the call taking notes and send out the meetings and do sort of the administrative support. And then we have about 25 participating partners. And it's been a really fascinating experience so far. It's gone really well. And that is our formula for a work group. They started by looking at relevant recommendations from the strategic plan and bringing in their own knowledge. And then we're figuring out from there what we're doing. We also have a group of funders. I call them the New Hampshire Food Funders, and they haven't yet made me stop calling them that. And they meet regularly and are looking at philanthropic and mission-driven capital and the role that it's going to play in moving forward the New Hampshire Food and Agriculture Strategic Plan, and are also interested in trying to find funding for projects that each work group comes up with that they want to move forward. So it's it's a work group in and of itself, and it's one that's meant to support and amplify the work of the other work groups. We just launched a New Hampshire Farm to School work group. It's a time-limited one this spring. New Hampshire Farm to School recently transitioned into cooperative extension. And so we're with Laura Alamayu, who's leading it within Cooperative Extension, and Mike Smith, who leads Ag in the Classroom, are going to co-lead this time-limited work group to hear from folks doing farm to school related work around the state and weigh in on help them inform how to design New Hampshire Farm to School to be helpful. So the question for today is, what's next? What other ones shall we do? So I'm gonna show you the current ideas, and then I just want to lay out the next like 20 minutes. I'm going to show you the current ideas really quick. Then I'm going to make you try a new software so you can give feedback one by one on the new ideas. And then we'll do a voting ranking exercise all together and discuss, hear thoughts, questions, hear other ideas that are not on the list. All right, so here are the possible next work groups, the top list right now. I'm just going to say the names now because I'm going to elaborate more in just a moment. So local food access, wasted food, farm to restaurant, farmers market support and management, farm to retail, collaborative policy, and farmland transition and viability. All right, so we're going to use Menti. So you can use this QR code in your phone. Colleen's going to put a link in the chat if you want to use your computer and not your phone. It should be really easy to use. I just realized, Colleen, I have to take down this QR code in order to show the Menti. Let me see. Oh, there it is. It's still there. There you go. So you can still see that, right, everyone? Right, Colleen?
Yes.
Okay.
Anybody having any issues or feeling good?
We got 7 or 12.
It's almost everybody. Got 17 people here. Okay. All right, there we go. Almost everybody's there. Everyone's there. Great.
Okay. But only 12 responded. Come on, other 5. This is my new favorite tool to use, everyone. And it's free, if you're wondering, for a certain number of participants. And I'm really enjoying it. It's called Menti. All right. Whoever's lagging behind the last two, you have 2 more seconds. All right, let's try it. So a local food access work group the focus would be on local food being accessible to people of all income levels. Just want to clarify that there's some confusion last time we talked about it. It would be linked very directly with New Hampshire Food Access Coalition. There's sort of like a subcommittee of it. We're still figuring out how we're talking about that and thinking about that, but a direct link to the New Hampshire FAC, but something they wanted to be able to focus more on, but could use the support and capacity on doing so. So the 3 choices on all of these are going to be, yes, it's needed and I would participate. Yes, needed, but not for me, and not a priority. And these are anonymous responses, so answer honestly, please. All right, we got 15. I think I'm gonna keep going. All right, and you can answer yes, it's needed, and I would participate for all of them. We're gonna rank and compare at the end, so just answer each one on its own. A wasted food work group would focus on not wasting food. So it could focus on gleaning efforts, could focus on reducing the amount of food waste going into landfills, and everything in between.
Paige and Allison, you can only vote once.
Are they voting multiple times?
No, I'm just saying.
No.
I know they're excited about this. I have a feeling.
Oh, we can only vote once?
No.
Oh no, only once per page.
Once per page.
Okay.
Once per page.
She was making a joke because she thinks Paige and Allison are gonna keep logging in and vote multiple times for this one.
Yeah.
All right, great. A farm to restaurant work group would bring together chefs, farmers, and others to support local food procurement in the restaurant industry. We've been in talks with New Hampshire Restaurant and Lodging, or Lodging and Restaurant Association, about the old, what's it called, Colleen? Farm to Restaurant Connection.
Yep. New Hampshire.
And this is it's a market that makes a lot of sense for New Hampshire farms as compared with larger markets, but a tricky one. All right, a farmers market work group. And also you can ask questions along the way, everyone. Feel free to, yeah.
My question is, if I don't know enough to know whether or not it's a priority, I feel like I can't really answer. Should I just not vote?
If it's not a priority, we just mean not a priority for you. Yes, needed, but not for me. Yeah, just don't vote. Just don't vote. If you feel like
there might be another option in there for like, not sure.
Totally. Like I've not like, yeah, I hear you. Feel free to not vote if you feel that way.
Okay, thanks.
I agree. Not a priority is sort of like opposed almost, and
right,
that's not how you
vote
feel.
Against something that could be a priority. I just don't know enough.
Yep. Okay, farmers market. Oh, this is fascinating. All needed, but not for me. So farmers market work group would support managers and support staff of farmers markets in the state. There's no current central group or force supporting farmer market management in New Hampshire. There are some regions like the Seacoast, where Seacoast Eat Local manages a lot of them, but most of the farmers markets in the state are sort of on their own. So anyway, that needed, but not for the people in this room. Just pausing for questions. A farm to retail work group would do whatever is needed to support the farm to retail connection, I would say. So co-ops and retailers to help them source locally. It might work. There's a number of ways it could approach that, but the end goal would be to support stronger and greater farm to retail work across the state. Ooh.
Heather, did you have a question?
No, I just had a thought, but then we kind of moved on. I was trying to like read across the names of the people who were on there for that last question, because a lot of people answered yes, needed, but not for me. And I wondered if that was just an artifact of like, who do we have? Because it would seem to me, you know, if you don't have a lot of farmers on the call, you would get a different answer to that question than you would have if you did have a lot of farmers on the call.
Yeah. Well, I think we don't have a lot of farmer market managers on the call. I'll say that. Most of these work groups are not aimed at growers. I mean, we could have one aimed at growers if you feel like there's something growers need that we can offer. Most of these are aimed at, folks like you all, a lot of you on the call that support growers in various ways, and how do we support them better? All right, we're almost, let's see, where are we? Okay, collaborative policy work group. So this one, we've been in talks with a couple of state senators and representatives about it, that they would be on the work group or help lead the work group. We would have folks in the network that are interested in policy, helping to develop collaborative policy and champion it as a network. So not like, you know, for the Farm Bureau comes to mind, like Rob Johnson is really aware of and knows about so much really small, not small, but detailed agricultural policy. We're talking sort of eat local type policy, or like really large changes we want in the, yes, yay, Rob, in the state that we would all want to get around. So Rob, I could see being a great leader or participant in it, but certainly not replacing the work he's doing. All right, this one I'm going to struggle to articulate. Farmland Transition and Viability Work Group, name is still TBD on this one, would bring together partners, farm business technical assistance provider partners of all kinds, especially those focused on succession planning and farmland protection, to identify farmland that is at risk, help create a transition plan, like basically understand what each other can offer in that very specialized space, and how help work better together, and use our resources wisely to move forward projects and protect farmland and keep it being operated by farmers in a way that they're able to do so viably. Jamie, do you want to try to articulate that better? No, I know.
I think you did great. Yeah, I think that the beauty of New Hampshire is it's a relatively, like, it's a robust, super great brain trust of folks. I think it's a small enough group that we could really bring together that brain trust to, like, think about both the farm transfer and the succession side of things. I missed what you said about the viability. That piece is interesting.
I was thinking of the plus.
I know. Plus. Yeah, I think like where it intersects with like farm business transfer, we need to workshop the viability part of the title.
Maybe that's not.
Yeah, I think it's more like transition and succession and how that ties into like conservation. I think we need to play with it, but I think that's the idea, that a lot of times these issues come together around the point of transfer and or around the point of farmland conservation. All these things are sort of being considered at the same time, so that incoming generation needs support and that exiting generation needs support, and like often there's a team that needs to come together to help facilitate that, and it's complicated, and we have all those folks in New Hampshire, but they're not necessarily like coordinated around that, and so this could be an effort to like better streamline that support.
Yes.
Was that articulated?
It is. Well, that really helps. And Colleen probably now understands what I've been trying to say to her about it. And I think for those of you, if any of you were at the statewide gathering last year and at Seth Wilner and Kali Lucy's session about farm business technical assistance, another way to think of it is sort of a continuation of that conversation. And for those listening to the recording later as well. I wonder if those listening to the recording later will show up on the Menti as they do it. We'll see. All right, that is the last one. So now you're going to take those, and since you said yes to so many, you're going to rank them. Because, oh, sorry, I didn't say this. the Food Alliance right now, we feel like we have capacity to launch 2 more immediately. And then we're going to get those underway. We just announced we're hiring a part-time network coordinator, additional position. So hopefully with that position and some streamlined systems, we can add a couple more later in 2026.
Sorry, Nicole, do we have to join a different, I'm seeing a code. There's no QR, like a number code. Do I go to menti.com and use that code?
It should be the same thing if you were in it before.
Oh, okay, I see it. Okay, sorry, thanks.
I think when I move it, it moves it on your thing, so you couldn't see it till now.
Okay, all right, got it. Thank you.
Yeah. And also just note, like, this is a small group with us today. People will watch this recording. We're seeking input elsewhere. So we want to hear what you all say, and sort of we'll use the next week or so. We're going to move quick on the ones that we are moving forward with this month. Fascinating. I will say that the local food access was also the top one at the network leadership team meeting. And so this one would bring together programs like those that are at the food bank, Granite State Market Match, Double Up, Food Bucks, and then programs that NOFA hosts and others. There's many programs around the state that make local food more accessible to people of all income levels and would help to figure out, what is happening, how do we strengthen those programs, how do we make sure they continue right now. I think the goal before was to grow them, and we're all sort of, adjusting our expectations right now and our goals of the goalpost. But that would be the focus, is to identify those programs, to support them, to look at what else we need in the state. All right. Last slide here. Do you have ideas for other work groups? What do you wish was on there? Do you have any questions, comments?
I guess I have a question.
Yeah.
Will there be a plan? So like once there's multiple working groups kind of going, what's the plan for like report back, or how will these groups sort of be in interaction with each other?
Yeah, that's a good question, Jamie. There's no plan yet I'll say there's no plan yet. The one plan in place is that there's a leadership person, a leader from the group is on the network leadership team. So like Noah is on our network leadership team, Noah Hodgetts. And so when there are other work groups, he'll be sharing with them what you all are doing, but that's a small group. I think that what you're alluding to is what's needed more and bigger, which is like sharing out to a broader group, or to other work groups. So there's the statewide gathering. We're exploring ways for this year's statewide gathering. The plan is for the morning breakout session to be meetings of each work group, so that if you're part of a work group and you want to go, you get to go meet in person and work on something. If you're just interested in a work group or want to hear what that work group's up to, you have a chance to do that. So there's some intersectionality with the statewide gathering each year that we're still figuring out. So, I mean, the real answer is we're still figuring it out. So if you have any ideas, let us know, but that's something that we're thinking about, and don't have a concrete plan yet for how they will. I mean, I guess the annual progress report is one way, but that's only once a year. Like the housing work group is focused on this project, go here to learn more, but it would have like a highlight from each work group for each year, what they're working on and what it is. But I see that that's a gap So we'll think on that.
Yeah, like not to create more work. Like I was just being like, oh, is there like a team of all, like, do the leads all come together a couple times a year to like update? Again, it may not be worth it, but I'm just thinking like, particularly where there could be overlap between the groups or just interesting to know.
Yeah.
I just wonder like getting that mind meld together could
No, that
have some
helps. It
interesting
helps to know
value.
you'd want to do that. You know, I think
I don't want to
where
speak for
if-
anybody else. Like I would find it interesting. Again, I don't really interface with most of the other topics. So like I wouldn't want it to be a huge lift, but I could see value in like an occasional like, you know, because it's a
Yeah.
system, right? And all these things are intersecting. And obviously you
Yes.
guys are the ones sort of like, if there where there is intersection, I'm sure you'll be on it. But I guess I'm just thinking about like, how do we all sort of, I don't know, think of
Totally.
it, be in a
There's
system
the
format.
network.
Yeah.
There's the Network Cafe series. Like I'm just thinking of the vehicles we have.
Yeah.
So there's a Network Cafe series. Maybe that's something we think about next year, is each work groups gets a Network Cafe to share what they're doing and get input. And
That's a
that's
great
one
idea.
that would be kind of fun, I think. There's also the strategy retreat. Did you ever go? I don't know if you all went to that. There used to be every fall a strategy retreat, and for the Food Alliance, where it was a smaller group of like 40 to 60 people, as opposed to the statewide gathering, which is more like 200. And it was really like work focused. And we're thinking about how do we pivot that event? Like, what is it? Is it everyone that submits like becomes a participating partner, that they get an invite to it? Or is it leads of the work groups? Maybe that's what it is. But it's like a 1-day retreat that is like enjoyable and well, enjoyable for some people, you know. Anyway, okay, we'll think about maybe I don't know, the Network Cafe series does sound like appealing.
I was gonna say that. I do want to just like kind of overarching. I think that a lot of what Jamie's referring to and Nicole was just saying is gonna be the work of our team at the Food Alliance to be network weavers, as we call it, and really try to put people together and align them on things that they're working on. So knowing what all the, we'll be meeting to know what all the implementation work groups are talking about, and if there's things that we feel are overlapping, we'll make those connections. But I think there is that little blank space for how to put a microphone on that network weaving that we're going to be doing and more internally. So we'll be figuring that. But sign up for our newsletter, because hopefully it'll be some updates will be in there as well.
Well, wait. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a couple of questions.
Mhm.
One is response to Allison. The work groups have a lot of structure and guidance, as opposed to the old action teams. Like I will say that that's why we've spent the last few months really fine tuning it. So we have a structure for how it goes and how the follow up and getting to something actionable. And so just so you know that, like, I think it's hard to explain it until you are in it, but Jamie, I hope you agree with that statement. She's had the front row seat to the first one, so.
You've been awesome in providing so much handholding and administrative support and thought partnership. So Nicole and Colleen are the best.
Thanks. Okay, so then I will say that I would love to hear from someone that said farm business TA or seconding farm business TA, and just to say more about what comes to mind for that. Like what were you thinking when you wrote that in up on the screen?
I was the seconder, but I'm curious to hear from the firster. I don't know who put it in, but yeah,
it's all right. We'll give them. Do you want to say anything, Jamie, about it?
I mean, again, I'm not as boots on the ground in New Hampshire, so I really defer to those who are. But my sense is, from being at the gathering last year and being at Callie and Seth's session, that I think there are so many different folks providing farm business technical assistance, and it's such a critical component of farm viability. And they're, again, having so much interface with landowners and farmers who may need other services, right? And so again, it's sort of like how we can strengthen that referral network, how to strengthen the network of TA providers, not just business TA, but others. But maybe someone else can say that better with more authority, who has that role on the ground. But I just see the need for that in lots of places. And I can imagine value in folks doing that work kind of coming together to be able to talk about what they're seeing.
If I can interject a little bit, NOFA New Hampshire is working with UNH right now to do some business videos and information, and they're even talking about creating a web page or a website that would have all of this, contain this business information. So
who are you working with at UNH, Teresa?
Seth and Gail. Seth has, has the
Wilner.
grant, a grant. Yeah, Seth Wilner and Gail McWilliam Jelly.
Great. And Leandra, I see that you would love to have a farm business TA database. I think that's what was talked about partly in that session last year, and I've heard that a number of times. I think it aligns well with what Jamie's saying. Grant writing and business planning is huge for food. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll give that some thought, and I have a meeting with the lead, Kelly McAdam, who leads the food and ag team at Extension, next week to talk about some of this. So I'll talk with her about that and see how that, get her thoughts on how we can add value there as a work group. I agree, that would be a really good one. We don't lack for good ideas here.
I just want to chime in to say that folks who put the education ideas and things about learning food systems in schools, I think the farm to school work group would be a great place for you to start, or refer people that you know in your community that are passionate about those things and are working on those things to join that group. So I'm going to put that in the chat for sure.
Yeah, and Ag in the Classroom, New Hampshire Ag in the Classroom, Mike Smith is co-leading that one. So it's very much not just about procurement. And if there's something else you are looking for that you don't feel like that fits, let us know. We'd love to hear. I can't tell who wrote that in, but feel free to speak up. Education, because there's a lot in there. Food system infrastructure, food hub, slaughterhouses, storage. Yeah. That one, so let's talk about it for a few. We have some time. I feel like if anyone wants to elaborate on that one, I think it's a tricky one. Does anyone want to say more about it? And like, who would be in that group? And I think that's the tricky part for me. I think it's really important and missing, but I'm not sure. I can't imagine like who would be in that group to be able to move these forwards and feel like a real lever.
You mean the food system infrastructure? Which one are you talking about, Nicole?
Oh, sorry, I'm talking about food system infrastructure.
So number one, and it sort of goes with using the cooperative model to help this. So if most of our farmers in New Hampshire are only like making $10,000 a year, that is not enough to supply like our co-op. A small farm cannot do that. But if they come together somehow and create, a group, a team, I'm a cooperative, so cooperative model, everyone shares in that, getting things together. I think they were on, Caitlin Porter did the, tour to the Center for Agriculture Economy in Vermont.
Mm-hmm.
What was it, 2 weeks ago now? And I've been there. That's amazing. And what that takes is like, there's a lot of people, slaughterhouses. You would need somebody to start actually doing the knife skills, doing slaughtering skills, all that kind of stuff. There would need to be a lot of education first before you even open a building, because if you don't have people that know what they're doing, then that's worthless. The storage piece is if there are a lot of farmers that are growing smaller amounts, can bring things together so it creates a bigger amount, and there's storage to do that for a while till it's ready, until it's bought. Those kind of things is what a food hub could be helpful for, as well as having a commercial kitchen so that There can be value added products. Who you would need to talk to is like maybe people who have already done this or been involved in this in different areas. Also, you really need to get the community people interested in these topics somehow, because you're going to need people to actually, sign up. You need the farmers to sign up together to create, some sort of working group or that's how Cabot started.
Yeah.
All the farmers had a little bit of milk, and when they brought them together, that's how Cabot formed back in over 100 years ago. So those are huge models for farmers that I don't hear talked about a lot, but it has been successful because Sunkist is a cooperative, Blue Diamond Almonds is a cooperative, Cabot's a cooperative, and it can work on a small scale too. You don't have to feed the world. Let's just feed New Hampshire.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a few things you're saying, Becky, that one, for me, it's right now, it's like we could use the next year or two to get organized. The place you visited with as part of that field trip series is related, Heather, to what you're saying as part of that grant program, the RFSI one, the Food Alliance led field trip series to see processing infrastructure in New Hampshire, Maine, and Vermont. So sort of like see what we have and then look at things we might aspire to in the future. And Becky, my best effort at this one, I think, would be like, can we get aligned on what the dream is for New Hampshire? What's needed, what's realistic over the next year or two, so that when there is an influx of federal funds or infrastructure funding available again, we are aligned and ready to apply for it as a state. Can we figure out the dream now?
And so who are the people, that being brought into that conversation? Because it would seem to be, number one, the farmers who have a hard time getting on calls and things like that. But that's the foundational part. None of those would work without farmers, without somebody who's actually growing, or they have cattle or sheep or whatever. They're the foundation. And so, are we missing a foundational piece, which is the farmers? Because a food system needs to work for the farmers, because they're the ones that's producing the things that we would like to see in our grocery stores and in their restaurants and everything. And right now I'm questioning if the small farms so many small farms can actually do that unless they come together.
Yeah, I think that it's if we were wanting to try to support a food cooperative of some kind, then yes, I absolutely agree. We would need the farmers to be part of that conversation. Absolutely. I think that's a big if right now in terms of what the Food Alliance is going to support on and what the top, what the next things to do are. But I hear you. I want to get to Teresa, whose hand is raised. Teresa, did you want to add something or ask something?
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of agree with Becky, and because I'm the one that wrote I kind of put them together under the food hubs, and the second part is the farmer collaboratives. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. 80% of the farms in New Hampshire make under 25,000, and they all can't. It's too hard if there's one or two people that have to do all the deliveries, have to do all the sales and all that kind of stuff. But if there are other entities, and maybe that could be a farmer, or maybe or maybe that could be another entity in New Hampshire that would bring 10 farmers together to produce enough lettuce to sell to Hannaford's or something,
Yeah.
or to the co-ops or something like that, because they're so small they can't grow that quantity. But honestly, very few farmers have the time to do that because they're such small entities. So
And
it's just
Teresa, I agree with you both. I think I struggle, like, you know, I see Jessica, I see your comments about the Food Hub Network. The Food Hub Network isn't meeting anymore in New Hampshire because there's very few food hubs left in New Hampshire, and especially those that distribute. I think the phrase that we use in the strategic plan, and I see used as collaborative marketing. And I think that would be such, I mean, if was Caitlin on the call, we talked about that as one idea, and she I think she felt like that phrase doesn't mean anything to anyone, but to me it means exactly what you're saying. Like, we have mostly small farms in the state. How do we help them work together? I don't know the answer, but how do we help them work together to reach markets and sell their product in a way that's viable for them? And like the food hub, like, you know, with Three Rivers closing and that situation, it's been left a really big painful wound in the state and gap in the state. And so how do we as a network acknowledge that and pivot and try to support those growers? And I'm going to digest what you all are saying and see if I can get to a solid, maybe that's where we have to start, is just like, how do we sell together, start really basic, and bring in some experts and really think tangibly about moving that forward. But it's a really hard one.
Yeah, I agree. It's a hard one. And but we don't, you know, I think it's good to just take the time to explore what the possibilities are, interviewing farmers, interviewing those buyers, you know, what could they use, how could they use it, and that type of thing, because that will support. When I talk to farmers, one of the big things they ask is, you know, like, what NOFA can do is like find us places to sell, you know, connect with consumers, connect with that. They need outlets.
Yeah.
So.
And Caitlin is her title is value chain coordinator. And the newest effort has been the wholesale producer directory. And we're just so fascinated by how few qualify for that. And it's been great. I think it's a great resource. And yeah, and I just want to call out Mark's comments about the IRSSC website. That they're a co-op and have facilitated the startup of worker-owned co-ops. Great, Mark. Thank you for being here. Colleen, we feel very strongly about ending on time. So just know this conversation is going to continue, and I really do hear you all and appreciate the input. And we're trying to add capacity to the team so we can facilitate more of these work groups. So if you see 2 come out in the next few weeks and they're not this one, don't feel like it's not a priority. I think we could do almost all of these and have them be phenomenal. I think we just have to take it. We're trying to be really sustainable with our rolling out of them, and we're really trying to add 1 or 2 at a time, get it on solid footing, and then consider, can we add more? So they're coming, and I agree, that one's a priority. Any closing questions or thoughts? All right. Well, we're gonna let's end now. We're gonna take all this. We're gonna share the recording out and hear more. But I appreciate everyone weighing in on this and helping us talk it through. It's really nice to bring it to this group and get to hear from you all. So thank you.